My name is Ubini, and this is Chris and Madison, and we looked at sustainability at UBC. More specifically, creating UBC under sustainability as a living lab that you can mix research, teaching, and UBC as almost you have students working on projects instead of some of their research papers going into the bin after they're done class. And so we thought if Living Lab is the end goal of UBC, creating this sort of hub in the university, what we really need is collaboration, because we already have all the units on campus to bring this together. So we have amazing research centers, we have excellent students and teachers, but we need to bring all of this together. So we broke this down into 3 components of how we can address these 3 groups, so students, alumni, and faculty. And Madison and Chris will talk into more detail about how those things would play out.
So the first unit we're going to look at is obviously the students. We want them to feel empowered, and we want them to have a positive experience when talking about collaboration and sustainability. So how are we going to do that? We're going to do it by having them tell stories. A lot of students have good ideas, and they may have thought of things about sustainability, but they don't know where to voice their ideas, and they don't know if those ideas will be taken seriously by faculty, by other members of the community. So we're going to say using social media to profile students that have done things with sustainability in the past and things that are upcoming in the future. Having screens in the sub, so having all of this information really visible for everyone to see what's going on. And also with the award programs, awarding students based on things they've taken on their own time to improve the school in some way, and also, providing funding for things that they do want to do in the future. Moving on to alumni, the best way we thought, alumni is hard. After you graduate, how do you keep those people to want to be involved with the school still? And we said a vested interest. So if they had a great experience at school, they're going to want to continue that after they've graduated and still deal with the school and still contribute with that. And that's, better than just a phone call every once in a while for events. That's keeping in touch and keeping collaboration with the students and the faculty on campus. Do you want to talk about
I would love to talk about faculty. So the last group that we were trying to address was the faculty at UBC. And we used the metaphor of tearing down silos, because we thought that as faculty members it might be easy to be very focused on your research and there would be challenges in being aware about what other research is going on at the same time at UBC. So we kind of came up with 2 ideas that we thought could help encourage faculty and make it easier for them to just be aware of what's going on. The first one would be either reallocating or creating a staff position within every faculty whose job would be simply to monitor all the research projects going on and publicize them both to faculty and to the rest of the university. Being one in every faculty, they could work on a committee and maybe use social media, maybe use a database, maybe use some other presentation tool to facilitate communication between the faculty and students, and faculty and alumni. The other idea we thought of was actually incorporating the Living Lab into the promotion stream for faculty. So as a faculty trying to get tenure and get promoted to associate professor, actually having student engagement in Living Lab projects in there as an incentive to participate in this program. So those were kind of the main things we thought about for those 3 kind of user groups. Thank you very much.
Is there any feedback from the audience?
One of the points you mentioned at the beginning was that the research that students do often at the end of the term just goes in the recycle bin. What do you guys think about incorporating students, even from their first or second years, into doing research that is not just for the purpose of writing a research paper, but actually will be contributing to maybe the research of a professor or research of a faculty that's being done? And do you think that's a feasible solution, or is it too overreaching?
It's definitely feasible. It's happening right now in certain courses. The Learning Exchange is facilitating something called community-based research, where as part of certain undergrad courses, students do research for a community group based on an identified community need. And that research then goes back to the community group, and the professor has it for their own research. So it's definitely possible, and the big question is how to do that. We were thinking collaboration, just being more aware of what's going on is one way to achieve that. we're also thinking of more collaboration with the staff, having the learning exchange, for example, with the sustainability office or something like that, to kind of add a little more punch to like helping us facilitate faculty doing that. But also even just student interest, asking professors, can we help with this project, or with this community group or something like that. We think that might be a powerful tool.
We were also discussing how a number of courses already, maybe around 20 to 30% of your grade is based on some sort of client project where your professor has gone out and found people in the community that can find a project for you to work on. So it may not be necessarily research and making a paper necessarily, but an actual project where they have tangible outcomes that they can see their work has gone into some sort of positive thing. And there are less walls to tear down in something like that than necessarily working on a research paper, say, that a professor is working on.
I love your thoughts on, I love the way you have the three sort of core groups of constituents for UBC, and your thoughts on how the students, as they transition into alumni and the community, can be ambassadors for the principles of place and balance, and specifically sustainability. Because there was a sustainability pledge that students were signing when they graduated, but never sort of went the next step, and I don't know if you discussed that idea.
Of a pledge?
We didn't
Well, there
talk
was a
about
pledge, but just how they can become ambassadors,
Yeah.
and how to keep the message rolling and taking our message out into the community.
Yeah. Our thinking behind that was, if you're directly involved in a project in UBC while you are a student, or if you somehow put something forward to a professor and made a positive change, then you have, as we mentioned, a vested interest in seeing that continue. And so that's where that pledge almost becomes personalized. So if they are directly involved in something positive while they're here in their 4 years at UBC, they're much more likely to engage with the university after they graduate, rather than someone who kind of just went in and out of class and didn't see that they had an impact on the university, as the first speaker today was talking about in the opening ceremony. So as soon as they see they have an impact, they have a vested interest and more likely to come back. So we think of alumni relations as more starting as soon as someone enters the university as opposed to when they leave.
So there's actually, I work for the Learning Exchange. We have a really good example of this happening. The Community Learning Initiative, which is a subset of the Learning Exchange, offers a summer grant for students who want to do a community project. One of our students was named Eamon. He did a community grant with the YWCA, which he had worked on before in a community service learning program. Now, as an alumni, he works with us, facilitating community service learning for some land and food systems courses. So we were talking about awards, and we think that this kind of funding, like letting people design a project and then implement it, is really effective.
I'm actually from the Sustainability Initiative here on campus, so thrilled to be here and to hear your ideas. And I don't want to talk much because I'd rather listen and learn from you. But I was interested in your comment around awards for students, and I just wanted to make sure that I understood that kernel of where you were going with that. Is it to reward good work in sustainability? Because I kind of heard that. And then I also heard more sort of support or grants for work in sustainability. Were those kind of two tracks you were going down?
Yeah, we want to say that coming from the student, if you say there's this money for whatever you feel, and there can be a committee or they're kind of judging it themselves, but they have a more interest in saying there's funding available for me to do this idea. Wow, that's really great. Like, as long as they're interested in it, and then as well, kind of.
Another thing we thought about the awards, it's more a message to show students that if they, we were talking about, say, the waste that's generated from housing in, say, Vanier or tourism. So if a student comes by and sees that there's this problem, what will turn the thought they have of this is a problem into an actual action? And so if UBC gives us awards to people who took the initiative to make a difference, and that is showcased, then we are sending a message to students that this kind of behavior is welcomed, and in fact what we need at UBC. So it's partly the personal incentive and partly the message we send out in terms of encouraging students to actually turn their thoughts into actions.
Thank you.
Thank you.